Good morning. Winter storm began last night in the upstate of South Carolina. Boy, temperatures dropping like a rock. Let's tell you what's new this morning. The ice storm warning continues for all areas along and north of I-20 in the state of South Carolina with widespread power outages and no travel potentially for days still in the forecast here for the upstate and possibly for some in the northern Midlands. Hopefully, we've had enough sleet overnight to cut down some of those ice totals, but I still think with what's coming this afternoon that the power outage potential really does go up. A winter weather advisory is now in place along and east of I-95. That it does include the coastal counties, even the Charleston Metro involved in this. Now, this was issued out of an abundance of caution because temperatures are right around freezing. Most areas right on the coast are just above freezing, but there could be some light freezing drizzle, maybe some freezing fog in some cases this morning, and that's why that winter weather advisory is in place. My ideas from yesterday and the day before have not changed. Little, if any, impacts are expected along the coastline. This is a mainly I-20 and north event. Heavy freezing rain with possible thunderstorms expected for the upstate and northern Midlands this afternoon, with rain and possible thunderstorms elsewhere late afternoon and evening. Temperatures as of 8 o'clock this morning down to 19 in Spartanburg. It's 19 right now in Rock Hill, about 20 in Lawrence, 23 in Anderson. We're in the mid-20s even down to the state capital, and you can see some of those temperatures down along the coast flirting with freezing, and that's why that winter weather advisory is in place. But again, there's just not enough moisture. And we can show you that on the radar here. The radar just shows most of this is back to our north and west, and that's why along the coast we're not seeing much. But I do want to point out what you see back across Alabama and Mississippi and Tennessee. That's the band of heavy rain that arrives for the upstate and Midlands later on this afternoon that will produce the potential for heavy icing across that ice storm warning areas. We put the radar into motion. You can see there's just not much going on along the coast. So any impacts inside that winter weather advisory will be quite limited. This is mostly an upstate show right now. Additional ice amounts on top of what's already fallen. Somewhere between about 0.3 to a half an inch expected across the ice storm warning area along and north of I-20. Now, right along the immediate I-20 corridor, this is a pretty sharp fall off. It looks like you're going to go from a quarter to a half an inch within a few miles to next to nothing, and that's okay. That's good news. You know, if this were snow and we missed it by a little bit, I would say, you know what, be mad at us. But with ice, you know what? We'll take this as a win because it's just so awful. It can cause so many problems. But the general idea is still there, but it does look like it's going to be a pretty sharp cutoff from around Columbia and east, from west of Columbia, quarter to a half inch, east of Columbia, next to nothing. That's how it looks right now. During the storm and after the storm, remember to be careful with candles and space heaters. Have those blankets and towels around. Avoid travel by foot and vehicle because of falling trees and power lines. Don't even want to be out walking around in this later this afternoon or this evening. Generators, grills, you know to keep them outside. It goes without saying, but we got to say it. And make sure you're checking on vulnerable neighbors, elderly, those with disabilities. Just make sure everybody's all good and then bring pets inside and shelter those livestock. Should have already done that yesterday anyway. Simulated radar at noon, patchy freezing rain continuing for the upstate up into central North Carolina. And then here comes that band of heavy freezing rain. This is when you're going to really see the ice problems develop and really start to stack up by mid-afternoon across the western upstate, mid to late afternoon across most of the upstate, and then the northern Midlands. You can see this does take the freezing rain all the way into the northern Midlands of Charlotte Metro by 6 o'clock. And notice that band of brighter colors there. Yeah, those are thunderstorms potentially embedded with this. There are going to be some heavy showers. And again, don't be surprised, even in the ice storm warning area, if you hear some thunder, see some lightning. It's definitely a possibility. That band of rain moves into the low country and the coastal plain as we head into the evening hours. Should be winding down after midnight, and we're all done with this by tomorrow morning. Highs today are going to range from near or below freezing in the upstate, even into the mid-50s along the coast. Once we break out of this morning along the coastline and in the low country, it's going to warm up pretty quickly. So 40s to even some 50s expected with those upper 20s, low 30s for the upstate. Morning lows, I want to address this tomorrow. There has been this nasty rumor going around that in the low country, after tonight's rain, temperatures are going to drop like a rock and everything's going to freeze up. That is not the case. Morning lows tomorrow are going to be in the 40s to right around 50. It is going to be well above freezing. Now, that will not be the case well inland across the upstate. Whatever is on the ground at the end of the day today is not going anywhere tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning's commute will probably not even occur in much of upstate South Carolina and into the Charlotte metro. So just be aware of that. But elsewhere in the state, there will be some issues, I think, in the Midlands. And then as we move toward the coast, those temperatures are going to be well above freezing, and there will not be any issues at all. And that will continue up and down I-95 from South Carolina into Georgia. Now, the change happens Tuesday morning. Single digits to low teens expected in the upstate, with mid-teens to low 20s for the rest of the state. It is going to be bitterly cold Tuesday morning. This is a widespread pipe-bursting freeze for the state of South Carolina. And then we do that for Wednesday morning as well, although it won't be quite as cold Wednesday morning. It's still going to be very, very chilly. Temperatures well below normal. So the bottom line, still a damaging ice storm for the upstate of South Carolina expected, with widespread power outages and travel problems in the ice storm impact area, possibly lasting for days. Moderate icing for the Midlands and parts of the PD, and minor, if any, icing at all east of I-95. And then again, the big other weather headline for this is the bitter cold through the middle of the week. So don't think that this thing is over. I've had a couple of people ask me this morning, are we done in the upstate? This has not been a big deal. What's going on here? It's this afternoon when you're really going to see that freezing rain ramp up in coverage, and it's going to be quite intense at times as that band moves through. I'll check back in if needed today, but I doubt I will need to. I think the forecast is solid. Everything's out there, and it seems to be unfolding as expected. Only thing that was a little different is we had a little more sleet. It lasted just a little bit longer, and that cut the ice totals down a bit. But hey, that's a win. We wanted that. We wanted the sleet to develop because that helps cut those ice totals down just a little bit. All right, I'm going to hop off, and we will be in touch if anything else changes, and I'll see you around this week.